Today I'm talking to Charlie from streetfrench.org, and he's going to give us some really helpful insights on language learning and some tips to keep you motivated. So hi, Charlie. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Pretty well. A little warm, to be honest. So we want to start with, tell us a little bit about where you're from and where you live.
Yeah, I'm from Los Angeles and I currently live in Paris.
Oh, so nice. And what brought you to Paris?
Um, I just started learning French kind of like as a hobby. And then, I was like studying music for a while and I just dropped out and decided that I should probably finish. And my counselor said, you took a lot of French classes just, for fun. You could probably just get a degree in it, it'd be all right.
I love how casually life just put you in that path.
Yeah. And then I got, a chance to study abroad in Paris. And then, but it was cool because my partner, Maya, she was already, and we've been dating for like, I think 2 years, like doing the extreme long distance thing. And so it all worked out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So not only do you teach French, you also live in a French-speaking country. So tell us a little bit about, because you studied French in university, so it was very academic.
Yeah.
And now what I love about your account, and the reason that I totally gravitate towards it, is because it's real life French. So can you tell us a little bit about the difference between the two and why that has become your business model and your passion?
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you want to learn French, at a university or most schools, I imagine you're going to learn this really academic kind of French. And they do this to sort of protect the language. They don't want people around the world kind of speaking however, right? And it totally makes sense. But, after 2 years of studying French, I realized I really couldn't speak that well, like in real life, because I started going to a French meetup. And I saw these people who have never really taken a French course, but they were so much better than me. And
I feel you on that one.
yeah. And then I was like, oh, I love these people. These are my people, right? So like we would just hang out, walk around LA speaking loud French every week for like 2 years.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
so cool. So you used Meetup?
Yeah. Meetup.com.
Okay,
And
cool.
it was when I started meeting them and then hanging out like a lot, like they became some of my best friends for a while. That's when I started to get really good at the language.
So actually, I'm curious about Meetup. So meetup.com is a global website. And did you create an event or did you
No,
find an event?
I found an event actually like maybe 10 minutes from where I live, like just down the street. Like I could have walked there if I wanted to. Like,
Okay. So for those of you listening or watching, that's something cool that you can either find Meetup events that are English based, or I think it's $20 to create your own. So if you don't find
might be a little more, but
really?
it's worth the investment. Like,
Excellent. So if you don't find any, there's also the option to create one. But okay, that's really cool. So for me, I had the same experience that academic French did not help me with real life French. So I studied French for years in high school and college, was at a high level, and yet could not have a real life conversation. So I ended up just stopping and totally lost it. And now I'm back at the beginner level. So I love that that's what you're addressing. It's like, no, from the get-go, keep talking.
I understand like that. I feel like both of them have their place. Like if you have the time, if you've got years and years and you got nothing to do, okay, go ahead and learn like the basics and then you'll have a really strong base to build off of, right?
True.
But I find in my experience, I find most people, they just want to be able to speak and kind of look cool. Like, you're not trying to like be Voltaire or something. Like you just want to like use the language reasonably well.
Yes. Okay. So that's a really good point. There is a place for the academic.
Yeah.
If you need to pass a test, for example, for sure, memorize, study grammar. But a lot of people that study English also just want to travel or want to talk. And you don't really need the past progressive. You just need real life stuff.
See, I'm not even sure what that is. The past progressive, like all these terms in English, I don't know what they are.
Wait, I love that you said that because I tell my students that all the time of like native speakers have no idea what these grammar labels are after you're in school.
Yeah.
I only relearned them because I started teaching.
Yeah.
And even now I'll usually Google like, what is this tense called? Because for me, it's about the story. Like, what do I want to tell and share? And then I'll figure out the grammar for it.
Yeah, I like to think of it like driving a car, right? Like you could read a book about driving a car, you could watch videos, but unless you do it like a fair amount, you're not going to be really good at it.
Oh my God, stop it. I genuinely have an entire section in my course that I just made about that. I was like, you can study, aerodynamics and like the color scheme, but unless you drive the car. So
Yeah.
yes, that was
Mhm.
perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so the other thing that I struggle with as a learner and that my students struggle with are time and motivation.
Yeah.
So, most of my students and followers have full-time jobs, kids,
Hmm.
families. I have no kids and I'm still super busy.
Yeah.
And I love French, but I struggle with the motivation. And I see that sometimes in English
Mhm.
learners too.
Yeah.
Is there anything you recommend?
I mean, there are a few things to really deeply reflect upon, right?
Oh,
Like,
tell me more.
well, I mean, first of all, it's like it's like be honest with yourself. Do I really, really want to learn this language? Like, how
Mm.
important is it to you? Like, is it really like for me? I'm studying Japanese, like studying Japanese. I mean, it means like I watch anime sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Those of you who are listening to the podcast, he's using air quotes,
yeah,
which
definitely.
means casually studying.
I mean, because I studied Japanese for a few years, or no, 1 year in college, which is cool because I got a good base,
Yeah.
you know. But I'm honest with myself that unless I have a best friend who's Japanese and speaks no English, or unless I move to Japan, I'm just not going to be able to work that into my life in an effective way.
Oh,
And
that's interesting.
and I've just kind of accepted it, like, because I'm not into studying. I'm not, you know what I mean, like at this point in my life, right? Which I might move to Japan at some point, and then I would have more
Different
motivation.
motivation.
So I'd say that's the first step is just be honest with yourself. Like, am I really willing to put in the time? And
Okay. And maybe having goals, like for you, like I think when you get closer to actually going back to Japan again, do you
mm,
feel like that would be like
yeah,
re-inspire you?
yeah, definitely. Like before I went to Japan, I had a friend and we would meet every week and he would help me, and it was good. But at the same time, I was really focusing on my business.
Mhm.
And I mean, I just got my priorities right now. I feel like there are only like maybe 3 or 4 things you can really focus on, and the rest you kind of just got to cut out for the moment. Like, you got to have a reason to do it. Otherwise, it's like, why do it, right? Like, and
Okay.
then a great way would be to like mix your hobbies in with the language, right? Once you've decided that you really want to learn, right?
Can you give
Like,
us an example?
yeah, maybe, sometimes people like to watch TV, right? Like that's their thing. I tell them watch TV in French, watch some French TV shows. Sometimes, like my French students,
They're
I'm like,
so fast.
put on subtitles, and then it's just doing a little bit as much as you can, like every day, right? Like, or I told it to someone else. I was like, "Do you like to read?" And he was like, "No." I was like, "Don't read in French then. Like, like do something else, right? Like, don't make it more difficult than it is
Oh, I
already."
love that. If you
Like,
know you don't like to do something in your native language,
yeah,
don't do it for your foreign language.
yeah, but yeah, and it's like if you like football, watch it in French. If you like to find new restaurants, watch that in French. Um, I found this like documentary. Gérard Depardieu. You
Yeah.
know that guy? Yeah. So he has this like I don't know. This guy does all this crazy stuff like that. Like he sings and like he's got this documentary series where he goes to Japan and he talks about Japan in French, right?
Hmm.
So if you like to travel, I mean, watch something like that in French.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you studying French, that's a really great resource. Those of you who are studying English or learning English, that's really, really awesome. So Expedia has
Mm,
an amazing travel channel on YouTube where they speak very clearly. So I
mm,
find that a lot of vloggers, it's a little faster. So if you're looking
yeah.
for something well done, not well done, something spoken in a good pace, I would recommend Rick Steves
Mm.
and Expedia.
Yeah. The thing about that though is I tell people to really try to listen to someone improvise in the language. You got the background noise going on because that's like real life. You're not gonna be speaking the language in like an airtight like room with no noise. I feel like it's important to
Okay.
get like both, as much as you can.
Okay, so then a mix. So maybe
Yeah.
doing these more formal, structured travel videos as an example for travel, and then
Yeah.
also the native speaker vloggers
Yeah.
that are just like da 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 da,
Yeah.
and then see how much you understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think really this leads to a great, it's an awesome segue to, I think you need to just experiment a lot and find what works for you personally. You know,
Yeah.
maybe a book's good for you. For me, no, it will not work. like I was telling someone, like, you know, if you want to work out of a book, good. Me, I prefer to go to the bar with my friends and practice the language. You know, it's more fun for me, right?
Okay, I love that. So someone who maybe had never thought of, maybe I can just get a few friends together that enjoy English and go to a bar and just say for 30 minutes, let's
Yeah,
drink and speak in English.
yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's
And
pretty cool.
yeah, it's like having a workout buddy. Like people kind of hold you accountable. And yeah, I mean, I think if you live in a big city, that could be good too, because you might meet a friend who you guys don't speak the same, you know, you don't have the same maternal language.
Hmm.
Yeah, I forgot how to say that in English, but
Native tongue,
yeah, native
mother
tongue.
tongue, native
Yeah, yeah.
language.
Maybe you guys might have to speak English, right?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't live in a big city with more diversity in terms of background. So maybe finding a speaking partner online.
Yeah, yeah, that's really, you know, that's a totally viable option.
Oh, and you had the best tip the other day that even I had never fully appreciated or thought of. So when you're looking for a speaking partner online, like of
Yes.
course you can use social media. A lot of us teachers will have platforms where you can meet people. Like I know you
Mhm.
have the Street French Facebook
Uh,
group. So if
yeah.
anybody wants French, go to that group. You can meet
Yeah.
people. I have an English conversation group at English Challenges on Facebook. But
Mm.
what is your golden tip?
I mean, you really you got to think of it like it's a trade, right? Like if
Mhm.
there's a native speaker and you're not really good at the language, it might be boring for them, right? And unless you can offer them something, right? Like unless they deeply value your friendship, or you know, like you teach them your language, or you know, maybe something like that. But there has to be a trade, and I think a good trade is if you have two people learning the language, two like French students, right?
So are you saying to
Yeah.
dare to have a partner who is not a native speaker?
Yes.
That to me
Because
blew my mind.
yeah, it's funny because you know I went to that French meetup and no one there was French. Well, maybe like one guy,
Mm.
but yeah, like I learned so much from other French students, and yeah,
Oh, that's a good one. And what
yeah.
about the worry that, oh, but if they're not native speakers, then neither one of us can help each other with our mistakes? Like,
I
what would
mean,
you say to that?
right, like you don't have much of a, you know, you don't have any other options really. But you would be surprised at how much someone can help you if you guys are like the same level, or if they're like a little bit better. You know, or maybe you might have people with like someone's better at speaking, the other person's better at comprehension.
Awesome. So I love that tip because with a native speaker, unless there's a balance, like he said, and maybe you teach them your language because they want to learn it and then
Mm,
they'll want to teach you English. But to be honest, if you're both not teachers, that's a difficult relationship. Like, where do you start?
mm,
How do you do it? And
yeah,
with a non native speaker, think about it as practice. You
mm,
can work on your grammar on your own. This is
yeah,
where you get to speak out loud without fear of making mistakes. And if it's a non native person, even better because if you're both making mistakes and you're not noticing it, you're just being free.
yeah, definitely. And I find that French students tend to know the same words, so they're like easy to understand.
Yes, that's another good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so Charlie, you're awesome. That was really great advice for language learners. And if any of you are interested in French, go to streetfrench.org, follow him on Instagram. They post really great stuff. My final thing for you is, can you teach us how to say, hi, nice to meet you, my name is, in French?
Okay, maybe you would say salut, je m'appelle, like I call myself, and then at the
Salut,
end,
je m'appelle Tanya.
yeah, yeah, good. And then at
Yeah,
the end, you just say enchanté.
enchanté.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. All right, so everyone practice your French line. Salut, je m'appelle Tanya, enchanté. And if
Oh,
you want to see more interviews with language learners and educators and just interesting people, go to EnglishChallenges.com. I'll see you next time.